everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, that is when I work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. Currently I am working on Eternal Love from Myka, Jelina. I did not unbox this, so I don't have an unboxing to share with you guys. But if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name's Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and other crafting related content. I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. I finished my mystery painting, which I do have an unboxing for. Well, I do. Hey, you want to see the unboxing for the mystery? I'll link that up in the eye. I have a post review coming. I will be publishing it this week, I believe. I still need to get some decent photos of it. And that has not happened yet, so that's why I haven't posted it yet. But after I finish that, I wanted to do something that was small, preferably round, and I was hoping it could, oh, don't mind my kiddo, it could fit for Knox's Punked Out Diamonds, and also the DP Pride event going on. So I picked this one, and it's two little lovebirds. I know I'm like pretty zoomed in right now. Lots of bright colors, lots of color blocking, which I enjoy. I know not everybody does. So you're probably just going to be watching me color block for a long time. I want to make sure I have enough room here. If I have to, I'll pull the camera up a little bit more. But interestingly enough, my week, I started out keeping track of things for Sunday, and then wrote a couple sentences for Monday, and then I guess I never opened it up after that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move the camera up. Let me pause you guys real quick. There we go. That should be good. As always, if you see anything that I'm using, I don't ever link my accessories and whatnot, usually because I just float through a whole lot. But if you would like to ever know any details of any of the things that I'm using, let me know. I will point out, I have, this is one of my minders. It's like totally see-through, so I'll put it under my hand. From Kevin's Creations. His wife is making the resin minders, and they are just now launching. I've been messing around with these for a little bit, testing them out. These ones here that I have are the ones with the embedded magnets. They will do that when possible. Otherwise, they will just glue them. But they put the magnet in. Can you guys, I don't know if you could tell from the angle. And it set in with the resin. And then the other magnet I have under my desk. So that is one of their lower profile ones. Here's one of their thicker ones. But you see, here's the magnet embedded. And there's the other one. So those will be available for sale. I think his drop is this week. I don't know if he posted.
I think it's Thursday.
Is it? Okay. Well, all the information, if you're ever curious, is always on his social media. You can follow him on Instagram or Facebook. I will link his Instagram down below. But I've said this in like a million videos. If you guys didn't know, I'm like real life friends with Kevin and Erica. And we went over there to drop off. My husband and him trade packing materials. My husband likes like packing peanuts, and he likes bubble wrap. And so, unless I have an open order, which I don't currently, and then obviously I'll go and I'll pick up my pen while I'm there. But if we're just going over, we're just usually swapping material. And, the last time we went over, they were like, hey, we're thinking of dropping these, and when possible, they will have ones to match the pens that they are dropping. But anyway, we are like real life friends with them. We hang out with them. We knew them for many years before I diamond painted. So I love.
We talked them into making diamond paint.
Yeah, I love seeing how many people in the community have pens from them, because you know, you never know if other people are going to love what you love, and it makes me happy to see that. So anyway, like I said, I only took notes for the first 2 days, and so I just quickly went on my Google Maps. If you guys keep your location settings on your phone, Google Maps will generate like your timeline for the day. and that's what it did. And so I just made little notes from that. So, and I am working, in case anyone is curious, currently with a 10 placer. I would be using a 15 placer if I hadn't snapped that. 10 is my happy spot for a large placer. I would say 7 is my medium. 4 or 3, depending on what I'm doing, is my favorite for a small. So, and yes, that's why you see me with a million pens out, because I do tend to use multiple pens at once. So anyway, Sunday, we watched Moana, and it was funny because we had seen Moana before, and Briar, for some reason, if you've ever seen Moana, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, there's a chicken named Hey Hey. And every time we would talk about Hey Hey, she was like, what? I was like, how do you not remember this chicken? I paid attention to the whole 3 minutes of the movie the first time we watched it. And I very much remember Hey Hey. If you guys did not know, the guy who voiced Hey Hey is Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball. He's a huge voice actor, and I had no idea how many voice work stuff this guy had done. But it's just like they pay, what's-his-face to be Groot. Vin Diesel. Like, do you think they're really paying him for his name or his voice? You know? But this dude does a ton of voice work. But anyway, we watched Moana. And then after our nap, we decided to go get some barbecue. We were going to go to the independent barbecue shop that we recently discovered, where my daughter decided she had to poop and then announced to the whole restaurant that she pooped. And we pull up, and there's a sign on the door, and I was like, well, that's never a good sign. They were closed. I don't know if they were closed because they were closed for something, or if they were closed because they had sold out. In the barbecue world, it's not uncommon for a restaurant like that to close when they do sell out, because they usually spend the first half of the week smoking their meats, and then the second half of their week selling it. So they're not going to just, whip out a new pig or whatever. But it was a little bit disappointing because, it wasn't anywhere online. And I see that they do use their social media, which, I would recommend to somebody. If you're going to use your social media, also use it to let people know if you're closed for the day. Or if your family's on vacation, you're closed for the week, things like that. But we ended up going to Mission Barbecue, which, according to Mission Barbecue, there is a shortage of turkey. I don't know if that means turkey from, their wholesaler is unavailable, or just, there's an actual turkey shortage at the moment. So, I usually get turkey, if that's not obvious from that statement. So, I got something else, but Briar is one of those kids who wants to be... Excuse me, I am so sorry. I don't mean to be, snorting and sniffling in the camera, but, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I was like, Briar, you need to let this cool down. No, I don't. So she takes a bite. Of course, the food is hot. And she immediately screams. Severe pain screams. And I'm like, oh my God, Briar. And she's like, it's so hot. And I'm like, I just told you it was hot. But we need to let it cool down. No. I'm like, oh my God. So she's screaming and she's freaking out that it's the restaurant's fault. Girl, it is your fault. I literally put it down and you immediately put the fork right in your mouth. I told you not to. That's not my fault. You didn't listen. And it's not like she's a baby. You know what I mean? She's 4.5. So she should understand the concept of when I tell her it's too hot, we need to let it cool down. And she was just impatient. And then after that, she wanted nothing to do with anything. And I was like, no, we're not going to play this game, kid. You're not going to come here, make a big deal about wanting to get barbecue, and then because you embarrassed yourself, you're not going to eat dinner. That's not going to fly with mommy. So, sorry, I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting these drills to want to line up today. So if you see me readjusting my tray, that's why. I have one of the larger Muni-Made trays. I personally prefer their smaller trays. I say that as if I have a large collection. I'm not one of those people. I've got 2 Muni-Made trees. I've got one large one and one small one, and I love the small one, but the small one isn't big enough for this much multi-placing. So I'm using my Bella Arte Nicole, one of their older cells. But I am finding that the drills aren't lining up quite as nicely as I remember them to. So, but anyway, back to my week. But it's funny, Brian and I had matching t-shirts on, and cute little blue t-shirts with a rainbow on it that said, "Women's rights are human rights," which I wholeheartedly believe in, and I'm hoping, since you're here, that you also believe that. But the look, there was a table of just like a bunch of old white people. And the look of horror on their faces, like when we walked by, like as if I was wearing something super controversial. I was like, well, I think once they realized that we matched and what the shirt said, it just kind of was like, moment for them. And I was like, all right, I mean, you can feel however you want. But that was that. And then Monday, literally started out my notes for Monday, and it says, "What a day." I don't even remember what we did Monday, but we're going to go over it. I hope that you guys all had a lovely week. And just a huge shout out to everybody. Yesterday was Sunday, Thanksgiving. Yesterday was Sunday, Father's Day here in the States. And after we got home from all of our Father's Day festivities, I had no mental energy or stamina, so I am very appreciative of how patient and flexible you guys are with the fact that I don't always get my WIP Chats out on Sunday. I mean, part of that is why I don't do like a set schedule, because it does allow me the flexibility when I'm under the weather, or I'm busy, or something came up, or I just want to take a nap that day, you know. So it's always appreciated, so thank you guys so much. Yeah, I definitely just put that over one. And as you guys can hear, my kiddo is wide awake. Team no nap. Her new thing now will be in the car, and we'll drive from wherever. And she'll go, "That was a long drive. That counts as my nap." Counting as your nap, first of all, no. Second of all, you didn't even sleep. That counted as a long car ride. It didn't count as anything outside of that, but don't tell her that. So anyway, Monday we had therapies. So we are now in the summer session for school therapies, and that means that not every kid is staying, like, not every kid does the summer program, because some kids get sent to camp, some kids, you know, travel for the summer, some parents don't want their kids to basically do, like, it's not really summer school, but, you know, and then you have other kids like us who we want to continue our services as much as possible, because I personally believe that, like, consistency is key and that kind of stuff. And, you know, same thing with, like, any kid, no matter how old or young they are. It's always a struggle when you go on, like, spring break, Christmas break, summer break, and you come back and you're like, I don't remember any of this shit. So that's one of the other reasons. But then any kid who ages into the program is being added. So they actually have a massive amount of kids. And because I hadn't been feeling well the night before, I had emailed her occupational therapist and I said, hey, you know, we missed our last session with her because her OT wasn't feeling well. And I was like, I don't want to miss this session because I'm feeling under the weather. So I had emailed her and I said, could we just do our session at the church where we have speech immediately afterwards? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So long story short, our OT, we absolutely adore our current OT. She is never on time, ever. And that's not always a bad thing, but So we take our sessions in a church. And for us, even though they're in a church, the church itself is locked. And the only way you can get in is if somebody from the inside lets you in. Okay, sure, no problem. And that is usually our speech teacher, because that's where her, like, permanent office is. So we got there, and she had said to me, oh, she's running late. And I was like, what a surprise. And she's like, do you mind sitting out here? And I was like, no, not at all. Because the problem is, her speech teacher has kid after kid after kid after kid. She doesn't have time to, like, stand in the hallway and wait. And our OT was about 15 minutes late. And, I mean, it was fine. I just stayed out there, and Brian ended up watching an episode of Bluey with Briar. Or I guess Briar watched it with Brian. You never know. Either way is right, yeah. We actually have a grown friend who has no children that watched Bluey the one day with us. She was over the house, and she's like, this show is really cute. I was like, yeah, it is. So I guess she's watched more of it, because she was talking about an episode, and I was just laughing, because she's a grown woman who has no kids, but was sitting there watching, you know, kids programming and enjoying it. Which, if you've never seen Bluey, definitely watch Bluey. Took me a while to be like, all right, let's hop on the Bluey train. And then we turned it on, and I was like, okay, this is really cute. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a family of Australian blue heelers, which are dogs. And they live in Australia. And it's the mom and the dad and their 2 daughters. And even though it's done with dogs, it's like the most realistic thing you're going to see. Like, the back of the van is messy and has sippy cups, and it just is very realistic. I am not sure why, like, none of these want to line up. I'm about to bust out a smaller tray just because right now. I don't know why. This used to be like my go-to. I guess do you guys find that you have certain accessories and things like that that are your, like, solid go-tos all the time, and then one day you put them aside and try something else out, or you pick them up another day and you're like, this is not what I remember it. Not that I don't like my Bella trays. The rounds are having difficulty lining up today, so I'm just... Yeah, that made it easier. But I'm still going to have to shake it just as often, because there's not as much surface area. But anyway, so... what was I talking about Bluey for? I don't even know. So we had... Oh, because of therapy. So we ended up having our session. And then we had speech right afterwards. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this or not. Our head teacher, who's like Briar's special ed teacher, is pregnant. And they are trying to get Briar's IEP reevaluation in before she has the baby and goes on leave. Because the problem is, when they would typically be doing it for Briar would be when the teachers do. And we don't want, collectively, me, the team, Brian, we don't want a stranger who has never met Briar doing the evaluation and making decisions on my child's services when they don't know her. You know, could it potentially work in our favor? Maybe, but we also want the people who know my daughter best to be the ones making their recommendations. There's definitely a drill upside down somewhere in this. I want to say I feel like I've been out of the game for so long, but I literally just diamond painted the other day. And I just got to shift all those. So anyway, I've been keeping track of how many bags of 310 I've already completed, and I am almost done bag 4. And why are these all... You ever do that? You, like, place, like, a whole row, and they're just slightly off, and you're like, do I really take the time to just maneuver or just kind of shift them? Anyway, you guys are probably bored by now. Let me keep going. So, we had her speech evaluation, and her speech teacher is quite impressed with what Briar is doing. But before she was just a speech provider, she actually used to be somebody who ran the evaluations for many years. So, in case of any emergency situation in which our head teacher would be unavailable, because of baby or baby complications, which, knock on wood, let's not have that. She would take over the evaluation. And again, that's somebody who knows my daughter, knows her limitations, her abilities, her personality, her attitude, like all of that. So that would be fantastic if we needed to be in that situation. For us, it's a little bit different because my kid, well, she's had an IEP since she was 15 months old. We are going to be in a classroom setting in the fall, so things will be a little bit different. Because, like, her speech teacher, we can't go to her office. She can't go to Briar's classroom because they have a different speech provider for that. So if we needed to continue services with her, we would have to come to her, but she doesn't have a lot of openings because she has a ton of kids on her roster. Or we would have to see the one that's provided for the school. So, you know, it's a lot of moving parts and ups and downs. And I promise I'm not going to sit here and talk about school stuff forever. But, you know, they're trying to get all these sessions in because they have certain, like, basically, like, standardized testing that they have to do for anyone being evaluated and reevaluated. They need to see if they can do this, what the answer is to this. Like, her teacher was saying, one of the questions in all the years she's done this, none of the kids have ever gotten it. It said, if a painter paints, then what do you call somebody who drives a car? And she said most kids will be like, my mommy or my daddy, or, you know, name somebody's name. And she goes, Briar just looked at her and goes, driver? That's right. And I was like, what a random question. She's like, the way they word it is terrible. And I'm like, well, you know, you can't put logic past the kids. But all of a sudden we have all these like upcoming appointments where we've been once a month, every month for a while now. So that was just kind of funny that we're like, okay, we'll see you again on Friday. Like, but anyway, we, she was in there and she was with her OT. And now that it's been like a couple months since she's seen her, like, Briar was just a straight asshole. Like, she would be like, okay, Briar, can you make a line with your purple marker? No, I don't want to. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. But her OT is, like, no nonsense. And not in a harsh or brisk way. She isn't going to stand for it. And she doesn't care if it's a little kid, she'll push back. And, like, that's fine. You know, I kind of would expect that because in a classroom setting, they're not going to let her walk all over a teacher. But yeah, she was being really rude, like really rude. But then we did a Dunkin' run and we grabbed some lunch at Bob Evans. It was funny. We were driving around and then she decided after we had already left that part of town that she wanted to go to lunch in that part. And I was like, no, girl, we are all the way over here now. We're going to eat over here. So we did. And, it worked out just fine. You know, Bob Evans to me is nothing special. I'm sorry if Bob Evans is like your favorite restaurant of all time. It gets the job done, you know, and it tastes decent, but it's not like anything to write home about, which again is fine. Sorry, concentrating here. So what you'll see me do when I do large areas of color blocking, not that anyone asked, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, is I usually try to get all along the edges of like where the color changes are. So like right here where the bird's wing is, and then along the edge, and then I'll start filling them out kind of scattered so that it's not just me placing in the exact same 10 spots over and over and over again. I find that when I do that, and you don't ever have to do whatever it is I'm saying, I'm just letting you guys know what works best for me. When I do that, I find there's not as many gaps, and the spacing looks better. But again, just my tip. So, but I have to concentrate on the edges because the edges, you want them to be like the most straight, I think. Ta-ta! And so now I'll fill that out. Let me grab another bag. Another bag of 310, baby. So, I think that was 4 bags completed. Ooh, did I just cut that in the wrong place? Please don't say yes. Shh. Don't mind me, you guys. I'm trying to talk and use a sharp tool. If you've been here long enough, you know that's not a good combination for me. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to spill. I'm going to cut myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Anyway, so what did we do the rest of that day? I feel like this was like a super busy day, right? Oh, yeah. So after her nap, we went to the mall. My kid, when she wants to do something, her idea is, hey, can we do something today? Sure, what do you want to do? I don't know. Can we go somewhere? Do something fun? Sure, what do you want to do? Can we go walk around? Sure, Briar, what do you want to do? And then, like, eventually she'll, well, can we go to the place where we can buy stuff? Oh, the mall? So, she's been asking to go to the mall a lot. I mean, like she always says, but, like, a lot. So, we decided to go to the mall with no real plans or intentions. This chip is broken in half. What is this child doing in her room today? So we did, and we ended up getting her a little flamingo because she was being really good, and that's all she wanted. That's all she wanted. If I'm buying a $5 Beanie Baby, like, you know, it is what it is. Fine, sure. But we were walking around the mall, and she had her first ever boba, bubble tea. She really enjoyed it. She had a cocoa melon one, which was coconut tapioca pearls in a cantaloupe honeydew. Which one's the green one? Is that cantaloupe? I don't know, whichever one. So honeydew then. Whatever. The green melon was the puree. I know I'm always like a hot mess over here, but like right now, me trying to work in this tray is like killing me. The drills are lining up better, but I have no fucking room. Excuse my language. I'm annoyed. I'm over it right now. I'd rather be napping. That's how I feel. But I'm here, alas. Anyway, we went to get sushi afterwards. When we went to Hibachi, or Tabachi as Briar calls it, was that last week, the week before? Like, every day she's been asking, can we get sushi? Can we get sushi? And there's a place that is down by that mall that has incredible sushi, but we never make it out there because it's a long drive. It's not near us. Obviously, it's expensive. And going for sushi is not like a quick meal. And, you know, the last time we went, my kid didn't eat sushi. Or she had no interest in it, I guess. And it took a really long time for, like, the rest of the food to come out. And then she was getting antsy. And, you know, it just... This was the good time to do it. So we went, she got her own California roll, which is her new thing. She likes sushi from the Tabachi. So we thought, well, her getting sushi from a real sushi place, like, she'd love it. And she did. And she has her own training chopsticks, which this girl, seriously, it took her like one use to master these. She's picking up her own sushi roll. She's picking up rice. She's picking up this and that, left and right. I'm like, damn, girl, like, girl. You know, my mom still doesn't know how to use chopsticks. Are you guys good at chopsticks? Let me know down below. But these are really cute. They're spring-loaded. I should probably share them on Instagram so you guys can all see them. I actually saw, like, a video on Instagram, and it was one of those, like, Amazon products you may need. And it certainly was an Amazon product I needed. And so we now have a set in my backpack, my diaper bag, and then a set at home. And she got good use out of them later in the week, too. But it ended up just being an absolutely amazing day. It was super fun. It was super busy. Lots of go. But she was on really good behavior. When she listens and does what's asked of her and doesn't argue about everything, we're much more willing, as one would suspect, to do things with her that she wants to do, like within reason. She literally asked to go to the mall like 3-4 times a week. Although this coming week, she's going to get a couple mall visits. If you guys hear that, my husband is in the room. Say hi, husband.
Hello.
And that's one of his power tools. Nobody ever asks, but I always know, like, it's going to be the time I don't say something that somebody's going to be like, what the hell was that noise in the back of her video? But I think that was his Dremel. So now, how do I have this many drills just laying on the side of my canvas? Because I'm a mess. Like, what is happening? Oy. I'm like literally just like peeling drills off the bottom of my canvas that just popped out of the container and I guess stuck to the glue. There's more. But wait, there's more. Billy Mays here. If you guys don't know that reference, I feel old. So Tuesday, we had no ice skating. It was a week off because they are doing a summer camp program. And so we knew we had a week off, and we had said to her, like, well, we'll do something else instead of ice skating. What do you want to do? And she's very clearly had said to us, you know, I want to have fun today. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do that's fun? Because usually that's followed by she wants to walk around and buy something, which means the mall. And she's like, I want to go to the place where I can jump. And I was like, huh, all right. So Toddler Time at Get Air, which is a trampoline park, they are like all over the place, so you guys might have one near you. Our Toddler Time is Tuesday and Thursday mornings. However, the Tuesday morning one is always when we have ice skating, so we never go. And the difference between Toddler Time and Open Jump is Toddler Time, they have to be under a certain size. So there's no big kids there to, you know,
Piss me off.
knock her over, or piss Brian off, as he said. But the other thing that's nice is because it's not open to big kids, the little kids can go anywhere in the park. They can go to the ninja course, they can go to the foam pits, they can go to the basketball courts, they can do all of that. When it's open to the public, there's like 2 spots the kids can go. There's a climbing structure in the middle, which, oh my god, I wish they had like mirrors or like even like closed caption TVs that you could sit and watch, because once your kid gets up there, like you can't see them anymore. They gone. It's very daunting. It is very daunting, especially like when you're like, where did she go? And then the next time you see her is when she's like coming down the slide and you're like, holy shit. But we did that and we had a really great time. And it was funny because my daughter, as much as a motor mouth as she is, when she is around other kids, she doesn't know how to act or respond or anything like that because she's never around other kids. And so she really just does not know what to do. And part of that is because she has been in a lot of her formative years in the middle of a pandemic. And another part of that is my kid's not in school. So she's not learning these skills, and she's a very timid child around other children, which is very weird because around adults, she is like, all eyes on me all the time, 24/7. I must be the center of attention. And she'll talk to you like an adult because she's always around adults. So she has adult temperament, adult humor, adult sass, adult attitude, in this tiny little package. But this little guy, who was significantly younger than her, he followed her from one structure to another, and his mom's like, he just wants to play with her. And I was like, yeah. And Briar's like, I don't want to play with him. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to play with him? Don't be rude. And I think she was confused as to why he wanted to play with her. And I was like, does it matter? Like, nobody else is coming up to her during the day and being like, hey, let's play. You know, we have some kids in the neighborhood, but they're not usually out and about. And I don't know. She was being pretty rude about it. And obviously, the mother did not take it personal, which, I mean, I wouldn't either if I were in her situation. But I was just like, damn, kid, like, don't be such a dick about it. How are there more drills just hanging out by the edge of this canvas? They're on, like, all edges. You know, like the little tiny bit of glue that goes past? And I'm talking about little tiny bit in this canvas. They're all just sticking to it. It's because I'm shaking them and they're popping out. Pop out. But anyway, we went over Olive Garden for lunch afterwards, which is across the street. And we thought, oh, Tuesday morning at like 11:30, it's not going to be busy. Boy, were we wrong. And you could hear like one lady ranting and raving. There's so many tables that are open. Why can't you just put us in one of those tables? And it's like, the tables are open because they don't have enough wait staff to take care of all the tables. Like the guy that was our waiter was taking care of so many tables, and he did a great job. But it was a good meal. Briar ate quite a lot. But it was funny because like, what?
Fatty.
It was really funny though because we think she might be going through a growth spurt. We've been getting a lot more food intake and then also a lot of like sleeping in, which if you've ever been around a small child, like they don't do that. I don't know what age it switches from like them waking up hella early to
teenagers.
I don't know.
That's what happened to me.
If you guys have kids or you're a young person, let me know. When did that shift happen for you? I'm too old to remember. But then we decided, shout out to Lori, if you're watching, hey, she messaged me and she was like, did you know that Michaels is having their huge framing sale right now? And I was like, I did not. And we were going to head over to Michaels because there was a few days left of the sale. And I said to Brian, why don't we see if your mom wants to join us? I had done Milky Way Galaxy, and I'm giving that to her. I'm gifting that one to her. If I did a post review for that, I'll leave that up in the eye. I can't remember if I did or not. But anyway, she lives very close to the Michaels, and we thought, why don't we take her over there, let her pick out a frame. You know, I can get a good price for it, or a better price for it. And she can pick something out, and then we can go get dinner afterwards. Now, my mother-in-law is one of those people that, like, she would never want you to spend a lot of money on her, ever. Like, it makes her uncomfortable. But I was like, I can't get a custom frame for super cheap. So we went, and they were showing us all the options, and they were giving us the different colors of the matting. And she goes, Lindsay, just pick whatever you like. And I said, well, it's not going in my house. It's going in your house. So pick whatever you like so that it brings you joy every time you see it. You know, and they're showing her this option and that option. I could see she was starting to get a little overwhelmed. And finally they pulled out a color combo and she was just like, I do not like that. And she looked at me like in fear. And I was like, no, that's good. That tells her, okay, let's go out of that direction and into this direction. So eventually she picked out two mats that she loved. And no, you don't ever need to do like matting or double matting if you're framing a canvas professionally. But obviously, the fine folks at Michaels are going to upsell you. And let's just say it was still expensive. But I saved, what did I say? Like $600? Something like that. So I'm excited. My husband will go over to her place to hang it whenever it is done. So if I can get photos of it, I will try to. I'm not 100% sure. Why are these like not laying flat? If we're going to pick it up and bring it right over or what. But anyway, we did that. And then we had dinner at Ruby Tuesdays, which was right by the Michaels. And my mother-in-law, I love her. She is so funny. She'll look at the menu and be like, I don't know what any of this is. Or I don't want this. Or I don't eat that. But I don't need to look at a menu. If there is a cheeseburger on that menu, 100% of the time she'll get that. 100% of the time, that's what she'll get. And I was right. But, oh my God, how are there more? I think my arm is just sticking into some of these somehow because, oh my God. Listen, Lindsay, stop being such a hot mess today. Where's the weirdest place you guys have ever found a diamond painting drill? Because the other day, my daughter, who has never been in my craft space ever, had one stuck to her. And I was like, how did you get it? I don't even diamond paint on the same floor of the house that she's in. Like, she's literally never been up here. Oh my God, they're everywhere. This is what I don't understand. How am I making this much of a mess? I'm sure there's someone out there watching right now being like, I'm not surprised, Lindsay. My God, they're everywhere. Because you're everywhere to me. Name that tune. Not you, Brian. He's got his earbuds in, so he's like half listening. Oh, I know. But I was saying, like, you're like half listening. Like, you don't really pay that much attention because you don't need to. Yeah. Don't worry. He'll hear the same thing played back later tonight when I edit it. Lucky him. He gets to hear it twice. Lucky me, I get to hear it twice. Anyway, so next day was Wednesday. Went back to kinder music. For some reason, pointing out that my daughter was the oldest student in the room, like, made her very upset. I don't know why. It just did. She, like, crawled into Brian's arms and, like, started crying. And I was like, what is she crying about? Like, what happened? What did I miss? That's what I missed. And then we did a quick post office run. And then, remember earlier when I said we were going to go to a restaurant across town, but she didn't point it out until afterwards? Well, we ended up going there for lunch. We usually get lunch after ice skating and kinder music, just because it makes sense because of the time of day. You know, could we just take her home and eat food at home? Yeah, but then unless you've already prepared a lunch by the time you get home and prepare lunch, unless it's just like, you know, sandwiches out of the fridge, it just makes more sense for us. So we went to First Watch. If you guys have never been to First Watch, it's a chain restaurant, but they are like healthier breakfast, lunch. And they had, it was very, they called it like a quesadilla Eggs Benedict. And it was very good. So if you live somewhere near one and you like the idea of like that, it's delicious. Highly recommend. And then what did we do after that? We had, so they give like the kids menus. And they put up, or Briar wrote her name for the very first time all by herself. I will insert the photo of it right here. It is so cute. If you didn't know that it said Briar, you would never know that that's what that said. But we watched her as she was like, this is a B. This is an R. Like, we knew what she was doing. And I was so proud of her because most of the time she'll have you write a letter and then she'll trace over it. Or she'll write a B, which is literally 2 circles on top of each other and a line. That's fine. She's 4. I don't need her to be, you know, any better at this than she already is. You know what I mean? So, it was so cute. I hope that you guys enjoyed that little photo. I'm proud of her. She's grown so much since last year. And as a parent, you know, like, I love seeing how much my kiddo is learning and how much she's absorbing and all these things. But it also makes me sad because as every day goes by, you know, she needs me just a little bit less. And sorry to put a total bummer on the mood right now, but I always wonder, is this going to be the last time she wants to snuggle with mommy? Is this going to be the last time she wants a hug goodnight? You know, I don't suspect any of that going away at 4, but one day it will stop. And I'm not going to know why. I'm not going to know when. It's just going to end. And I'm going to be sad about it. And I'm going to look back and say, you should have appreciated those hugs more. You should have appreciated how much she loves to snuggle. And, you know, all those silly little moments. And did not expect my WIP Chat to go that way. And, but it's true. And that's some of the hardest parts of parenting is like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I also know that even though I'm not the best parent in the world, that I'm a good enough parent for my kid, and I love her dearly, and I just don't want to ever look back and regret not living in those moments. And yeah. So anyway, after her nap, which, again, I say nap, and I had somebody say to me recently, you're so lucky your daughter still naps. I'm like, oh, no. We had one day where she fell asleep for like an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I'm not sure why. It wasn't a full nap, but like my kid does not nap anymore. but she has her own, like, quiet, unwind time. And I don't even like calling it quiet time because you guys hear her. She literally is, like, running around and singing and jumping and flip-flopping off of furniture. And, like, oh my God, kid, you're gonna stress me out. That's what quiet time, that's what her nap time is. But, except, by the way, this is the blackberry something or other tea from Taco Bell. It has like seltzer in it. We were talking about it, I said it doesn't taste like tea at all. I mean, I don't know how much tea is actually in it, or if it's just made by Brisk, so they call it that. But it definitely tastes like a blackberry soda, or Brian said like a grape soda. It does kind of have that grape soda appeal to it. But, yeah. Just sharing that little tidbit with you guys. I'm almost done, so I should probably ration that off a little bit better. But anyway, we went to get ice cream, afterwards. And first of all, people, this is like a PSA, a general PSA from me to whoever is listening. If you were anywhere, restaurant, dining establishment, store, anywhere, and you see paper signs all over the door and like a caution wet floor sign in front of the door, just read it. This one said, due to being short-staffed, the inside was not open. They were open at the walk-up window and the drive-through window, and that was it. There was no indoor dining, no indoor ordering. Now, we were there. We waited in line. Not a problem. The amount of people that we watched just blatantly look at the sign and then pull on the door and walk right in, and then, like, a minute later come back out. I was like, it's literally on the door, and there's a sign, and then there's this sign. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard, people. But we went, and there were a group of teenagers, I would say, like, 19, 20, years old, not of them. And we were sitting there, and Briar found this. It was like a planter that they use for, like, the signs go in. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but, like, they're the wooden buckets, and this one had rocks and cement, and then, like, the posts coming out of it so that they could put up the tent or the sign or whatever it was. And Briar discovered rocks. Now, Briar has a huge love of rocks, if you did not know. We have rocks in our house that are her friends. We have rocks that she has wrapped in a blanket because they need to go to sleep. This kid loves rocks. She loves rocks. I don't know why. I think it's pretty funny. It's also pretty typical, I think, for that age. But this one girl in that group was getting such a kick out of Briar, because Briar's like snuggling up to the rock. I love you so much, rock. And I'm like, Briar, you can't take it with you. You want to give it a hug? That's fine. You can give it a hug and put it back. Okay, mommy. So she's giving, I love you so much. And this girl's just laughing, but not like laughing at her to make fun of her, just like laughing. And like, you know, she kept saying, she's so cute. I was like, thank you. I was like, she really just loves her rocks. And she's like, I see that. This kid was snuggling rocks like they were disappearing. She was never going to see them again. But she's such a hoot. It's so weird to me, the things that she latches onto and, like, has to have, and then the other things that she, like, doesn't care about. So, on Thursday, I was looking at the weather, and I was like, I don't know if we're going to have swimming or not. So, I emailed her teacher, and I was like, hey, just checking in before we leave, you know, are we still on for today? They don't mind if it rains, but if there is lightning in the forecast, or they've seen lightning, then they won't, because it's not safe. Like, a kid can swim in thunder, but they can't swim in lightning, but usually if there's thunder, there's lightning behind it. So, I just lost my train of thought because I'm concentrating. Anyone else do that? I'm usually very good at multitasking, but I feel like there's a level of concentration that's needed for filling in color blocking. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, we had that canceled, and so my husband said, why don't we take her to that play place? That was supposed to be one of Briar's treats for when she was fully potty trained, because I had let her know, like, it's not their job to clean up your pee-pee. So if you're too busy playing and you pee-pee on their floor, like, they have to clean up the floor, and they have to clean all the toys, and they have to clean all the stuff around it. And that's not very fair, and that's not very nice. And, you know, so she understood. And I would say, the only reason I'm hesitant to actually physically say the words that she's, like, fully potty trained is because she's not self-motivated. Like, she doesn't take herself to the bathroom to use the potty. It's only when you tell her to, unless she has to poop. If she has to poop, she's golden. She's like, I gotta poop, bye. Which again is like the opposite of every other kid. But we went, and it's been a long time since we've been. We had a pass that ran out in, I think, March, but I don't think we even got to go much before it because the family had COVID in December, January. And then just a lot of other things happened. So we didn't get to utilize it as much as we wanted to. But it was perfect. She ended up, like, playing with a couple other kids, which was really nice to see. Honestly, at this rate, I don't care if she's playing independently alongside, like, parallel play with another kid. That's still her interacting and playing with a peer. And she did really good. She used the potty there by herself, like a big girl, and just, we had a really lovely time. And afterwards, she's like, can we go to Five Below? And she had a really good couple days, and I was like, you know what, sure. And I told her, I said, you can get one thing. Now, Five Below, your one thing could be $1, your one thing could be $5. Although now they have stuff that's up to $8, but anyway, she went right for the stuffed animals, knew exactly what she was looking for, picked out a Care Bear, immediately was, oh my god, I love it, can I have it, I love it. And we're like, yes, Briar, you can have it. So we were in and out of Five Below maybe in a minute. It was like, we walked in, she beelined, we walked out. But then we went over to Panera, which is in the same shopping center. This is the same Panera that I've complained about with, like, they just don't seem to understand how to, like, read instructions. So we placed an order, and the girl inside, they had different options online than they do on the board for the kids stuff. So I was like, do you guys have just, like, a kid's salad? Because Briar wanted a salad for some reason. And I thought that they had, like, an actual salad that was just for kids. And she's like, did you want a Caesar salad or did you want to pick one of the other salads? And Briar's like, I'll take a Caesar. I don't think she knew what a Caesar salad was. Fine, whatever. And I got soup in a bread bowl, and I chose an apple as my side because I was like, Briar can have the apple. You know, that's a good side. And I didn't need any more bread after ordering a bread bowl, which, not gonna lie, I've done that before. And the whole bottom of my apple was moldy, and I was like, this location just does not seem to care or pay attention to anything. And I don't know how many more things I can complain about. And I know people are probably like, well, why do you go back if it sucks? And I'm like, it's not that it sucks. It's just like, they just need to be more attentive, is really what it is. I mean, I don't know. I don't work there, so I don't know what the deal is, but, yeah. What else did we do? Oh, Friday. Okay, so Friday was the first day of Briar's itinerant teacher, where we were paired with other kids. Originally, they had no kids in Briar's age range available to do it. And then there was this set of twins who, last minute, their mom decided that she wanted them to be a part of this program. They are the same age as her. However, they are turning 5 before September 1st, so they are actually headed to kindergarten. So this was our first time meeting them. And it's funny, I don't ever say the names of people in, like, our real life on here. Like, you'll never hear me talking about her teachers by names. But I hear her teacher saying, it's not Raindrop, it's Raina. And Brian goes, was that Briar? And I go, yeah. So one of the twins, her name was Raina. And I was like, you know, to these kids, Briar's probably a weird name. You know, you don't hear a lot of people with that name. So Briar was like, Raindrop. And they're like, no, it's Raina. But it was cute to listen. And she seemed to get along with them well. You could hear all three of them giggling away in the session, and it was a nice little change of pace. And then we had speech immediately following after our second speech session of the week. But the best part was none of the other parents that were there, and like they were just churning kids out that day. It was like appointment after appointment after appointment. Our speech teacher has a permanent office in the corner, and then there's like an observation room that they use for these sessions, and that's what I use when we meet our OT there. So my husband and I are sitting in like the only two chairs, and all of the other parents decide they just want to like stand outside the door, whatever, their prerogative, they can do whatever they want. Then I hear this voice talking to my child, and I'm like, why do I know this voice? This voice sounds very familiar, and it didn't give me like, oh, this voice sounds familiar. It was like, this voice sounds familiar. This is not good. If you guys have been around long enough and you remember me talking about our original OT that I got fired, not from the program, from our family. I refused to have her be a part of our life anymore. It was her. And like, you better believe if she tries to talk to my kid again next time, I'm going to tell her, you can keep your comments to yourself. She doesn't remember us or my daughter at all. Because even though Briar was saying, hi, my name's Briar. What's your name? Like, it didn't dawn on her. And again, Briar's not a very common name. So you would remember if you had another kid named Briar on your roster. Or so you'd think. And thankfully, Briar didn't put two and two together, which is great because the last interaction we had with her, she made my daughter cry. And I'm not about that life of, putting my daughter in emotional distress because of a provider. But we had the therapy with the twins, and then we had the speech therapy, and she did really, really well. And then we ended up going back to that taco truck. Listen, people think it's weird that my husband and I travel for things. I don't. I understand the price of gas right now is crazy expensive, and I am not going to downplay that. But listen, I'd rather drive 40 minutes to get good food than 25 minutes to get mediocre food and then not be satisfied. So we went back to the taco truck, which they have moved directly across the street to a different parking lot. And Briar was watching the guy painting the picnic benches. And she was like, well, why is he doing that? What color is that? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. She's such a people watcher. And then we went to a store that sells a lot of gaming stuff, pop culture stuff, pop figures, and they were supposed to be having this really great sale. And Brian's like, so here's what their sale is. They mark the prices up, and then they go, hey, it's on sale. Which, FYI, if you didn't know, that's a very common practice in retail. So, like, when you see places are like, 70% off sale, they've probably marked it up a ton first.
They were for sale, not on sale.
Yes. But those two places were like 3 minutes away from each other, so we decided to do both of those. And that was it. That's how we spent our Friday. It was lovely. And then the next day was Saturday. Damn it. Saturday, we opted to go to drag story time. Now, the drag queen who ran it, Miss Anita, I have been following her on social for a while. I have seen her perform in kid-friendly stuff, and I have seen her perform in adults-only stuff. I absolutely adore the Drag Storytime program. There is, like, a national or international program that does it, so you guys can always look online to see if it's in a city near you. But Miss Anita Out of Drag is the manager of a local area bookstore, and so I had reached out to her, and I said, hey, are you guys going to be picking those back up anytime soon? My daughter keeps asking. And she let me know that they hadn't finished working on the kids' room quite yet, but when they do, they will be. But she's going to be doing a performance in Carlisle, which is about 45 minutes away from where we live. That was my first time in Carlisle. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a cute little town. We walked around for a little bit. We went and had lunch afterwards. You guys, if you have never done Drag Storytime, I highly, highly recommend. It is so much fun. Like, I cannot reiterate how much fun it is. It's completely wholesome. There's always stories about acceptance or love. Like, it's never anything overtly, like, there are people out there who think that, like, drag story time is out there teaching our kids how to be gay. That's not at all what it is. It has nothing to do with that. There's no such thing as a gay agenda. If you guys have been here before, you've heard me talk about this. It's seriously some of the most wholesome fun you could ever have with your family. And she brought her drag son. The two of them both performed. She sang a song from Moana, and then they lip sang to he sang to the song from Trolls by Justin Timberlake. I'm spacing on the name. And then they sang something together. 2 books were read. The library was blown away by the amount of people that turned out for it. It was part of Carlisle Pride Week. I am just incredibly excited to see these things being offered in person again. And I've missed them dearly. My daughter and I both wore t-shirts that were matching that said, "Ban guns, not books." Again, if you have a problem with that, you can leave the video. It's totally fine with me. But we got a lot of praise for our shirts in this setting. We were in a library, first of all, but then walking around downtown, a lot of people pointed it out or gave me a nice head nod or, things like that. And I loved it. We went to get ramen noodles at a place that there was supposed to be a location near us that was supposed to open and never did, and I don't know why. But this location was like down the street from where we were, so we went. Briar used her little training chopsticks again. Loved them. Had a great time. And that was that. We had a great time. We had a wonderful weekend. We ended up running to the grocery store, picking up some stuff. We had a little driveway bonfire, which we haven't had in a while, and it just ended up being a really lovely night and a wonderful way to end the week. And then, of course, the next day was Father's Day, which I will talk about in next week's WIP Chat. But if you guys have made it all the way here, since we're doing stuff relating to Pride, leave me your favorite rainbow or flag or color combinations for a flag emoji, if you don't know what I mean by that. Like, the trans flag is pink, white, and blue. There is a trans flag emoji, but leave me an emoji, something relating to Pride. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys for this one. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or, nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping, or like today, sleeping. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys!